Good morning, everybody. My name is Amy Paulus. My husband Jim is hiding back there by the log cabin, so I'm going to call him out. It's an honor to welcome you to Paulus Farm, everyone. Each day, it is our intent to provide a play-based, educational, and agricultural experience for young children and their families here at Paulus Farm Park. With gardens to explore, friendly farm animals to encounter, and a variety of hands-on opportunities throughout the farm, children will be immersed in farm-based fun, leading to a respect and appreciation for local agriculture. This is what motivates us each day. Thank you for being here.
Good, Amy, thank you, and good morning, Jim. Good to see you. It is good to be back. You know, we stood here several years ago for a dedication of the 20,000 acre preserved in Cumberland County, and some of you remember that. It was almost this exact spot. So it's wonderful to come back. It's wonderful to see the growth in the farm and what you're doing here at Paulus Farm Market. But just a welcome to all. We very much appreciate you taking time today during this month of June and the growing season to pause for a moment just to talk about agriculture and its future and our workforce. It's really nice to be with you. It's such a beautiful place. Thank you for that. But it's also a place of learning and discovery, which is even better, right? So you put together this very intentional work that Amy and Jim are doing in furtherance of ag education and building this public awareness. It's both an appreciation for what they do here at the farm market, but we also get a chance today to see the extension of that and the appreciation that this community and those who visit have for what happens here, right? So it's when you come through the doors, there's this hidden sort of treasure behind the fence. And I think it's a great analogy for sort of agriculture, right? On the surface, it looks like one thing, and then you step into this world and you see what happens on the landscape. You see what happens with the livestock, what's around us in terms of our pollinators and the turf and all of those things that are part of agriculture and agriculture awareness, what we're talking about today. Agriculture in Pennsylvania, deep roots, right? It is part of our history. It's been an important part of our history, but it's also a critically important part of our future. And that's what we want to talk about. Both, Secretary Ortega and I, who you'll hear from in a moment, the Secretary of Education, spend a lot of time thinking about the future workforce. And how do we, prepare that workforce for the careers in agriculture? We'll hear about those today. We understand that agriculture is at the intersection of some of the most important issues of our time. We're at the intersection of the environment and what happens with water quality and climate. We're at the intersection of health, both in the health of our economy and our personal health. We're at the intersection of jobs and what happens both in our current workforce, but what that future is and what the future needs are. And we're at the intersection of the economy. It's important. The one thing I think we appreciate, sometimes not always noticed, is that we're also at the intersection of the quality of life. At the end of the day, it's all of this converges inside the work of agriculture. So we will hear today about agricultural jobs, the agricultural workforce of the future, but it's also having young families sort of visit and take a look and the wonderment that's here. What is behind those buildings? What's under that plastic? Right? What are those bees doing in the flower garden? How does that strawberry get so beautiful? Right? All of that is part of the wonderment of agriculture and why we think it's important to start now as young families to sort of look around and see maybe that is something that I want to do or they want to do. Right? It's the discovery of agriculture. But why does it matter? I think it matters for a couple of reasons. One, it's clearly agriculture in Pennsylvania is important, 593,000 jobs in agriculture today and growing. It is important because of what we are confronting in terms of food production. We know that our security, both as a state and a nation, is founded in our ability to feed ourselves. right? It's important. We will add, in the course of many of our FFA and 4-H members who are here in the course of their lifetime, we will add 2 billion people to this planet. 2 billion. That's the equivalent of 2 Indias. Somebody has to feed, somebody has to maintain, somebody has to make sure that we have the science and the civics and the water and the air. All of that has to come together for the benefit of both our larger society and life in general. So we understand that central to a functioning society is health, and health in so many ways. So to our parents who are here and around us, thank you. Thanks for bringing them to Paulus Farm Market to discover and explore. To those who aren't here but are thinking about what they do this summer with ice cream trails and farm visits and parks and outdoors, all of that, take a close look at what is happening on the landscape and in our parks and on our farms, and wonder, is there a path for my child in that industry or in that particular setting? And they will find the answer is yes to much of what it is that makes our society work is found and rooted in agriculture. So thank you all for being here. Very honored to be with you. Always good to have young people who are interested in serving our state and our nation. We are blessed today to have representatives from our FFA and 4-H with us. I'm always inspired when I see them, I hear them, and know that they are people who, wherever and whatever they do in life, that will carry this passion for agriculture. So today we're pleased to have Emma Musser, our FFA state chaplain, with us. Emma?
Well, thank you, Secretary Redding, and thank you so much for allowing myself as well as some of my teammates to be here to represent the Pennsylvania FFA Association. It's always great to get out to in-person events and be active in our community. And so I remember when I was sitting on a porch swing at my family's cabin, and my dad looked at my sisters, cousins, and I and asked if we wanted to start showing pigs. Without hesitation, we all said yes. And before I knew it, I had 2 pigs at my grandparents' farm. So I did not grow up on a farm, but my dad did. And my roots in agriculture run so deep because of his relationship to agriculture. And so we kept these pigs on my grandparents' farm and gradually added steers, goats, and sheep. So my barn was full of different livestock. And it's here that I found my place in agriculture, and it's here that I found my passion. What I loved most about showing livestock was the opportunities I had to spend time with my family. My sisters and I would catch up on our day as we walked our pigs around the farm, and my cousins and I would talk about our hopes and our dreams as we worked on our steers. We had so much time to build relationships with each other and build intentional community, free of the distractions of the world. It was just us, our livestock, and the show barn. In agriculture, there are so many opportunities to build relationships. This year, I've had the opportunity to build relationships with over 13,000 members who are involved in the FFA organization. It has been an honor to watch students in agriculture education thrive and find their place. Now, there are so many different career opportunities in agriculture, and it's because of my time in FFA and my dad's legacy in the Blue Jacket that I'm here today. There are careers going from ag science to agriculture mechanics, floriculture, and everything in between. And we all can be a part of this agricultural community. We can start here today by building a shed and having goats in our backyard, or starting a garden, or eating. We are all a part of agriculture every time we eat. I am blessed to be a part of this organization and to stand here before you, almost about to retire my time in this organization, but it has truly been an honor to serve the state, to build relationships, and to continue to find my community. I truly believe in the future of agriculture, and I believe that there is a future for you in agriculture as well. Thank you. Now, our time in agriculture wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for education. And so I am honored to introduce Secretary Ortega to talk about his time in education.
Thank you, Emma, and that was truly inspiring. I'm glad to be here, and thank you, Amy and Jim, for extending the invitation. You know, for me, this is like being at home, truly. I was telling a few folks as I was walking in that I didn't grow up in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Texas. In fact, I grew up in rural parts of Texas, and I'm a sort of son of a family of folks who were migrant laborers in America, right? My parents always talked about going to California, Michigan, Pennsylvania for a number of reasons of their family. That was sort of the labor of my family. And in many ways, I've been to the same places from a different capacity, promoting education, its importance. And for me, it's always been at the root to really think about what things like agriculture have done to change society, right? We're sitting here nestled between a highway, then all the things that come with sort of this place here in terms of a farm and what it has to produce. And it's a really good representation of how certain industries meet and cross path with things in terms of development and continue to push the envelope on what's important. So for folks who are here, you know, I think today is very much kind of our celebration in terms of education of what that means for the future role of students, the business, and agriculture as well. Visiting a place like Paulus, you know, helps kids experience agriculture through exploration and engagement in hands-on activities, as going on behind me and many of us can see. This is the first time I've been here, and I was really, like Secretary Redding, surprised by walking through kind of a gateway that just opened up this life of things going on around us. And this is really impressive, and this is a really good way for young kids to really get introduced to the opportunities that exist in this area and have a true appreciation for what's around them, right? For where things come from. Often we sit down and take for granted where the food on our table came from. But even beyond that, where the things that are surrounding us in our home, all who were contributed by somebody, also come from, right? So by creating these opportunities for children to participate in meaningful ways in agriculture, I think these learning experiences really plant the seeds for what's important for them, right? To pursue careers, as Emma described in her pathway, and I just had the opportunity to listen to her colleagues also from FFA describe the same pathway. Like there's a number of ways that folks enter this and they're going to make significant contribution to what happens, right? Agriculture offers diverse careers and career paths for students, families in Pennsylvania, right? Extraordinarily, $132 plus billion in this industry right here in PA alone. So it carries a significant importance and something that we need to continue to elevate and invest in as a Commonwealth agency. Our children who are seeing this for the first time, exploring and learning about agriculture, are going to be the leaders of the future. They're going to make a difference and continue the work that folks like Amy and Jim have done and their family has done as well, and continue it well into the future. So really grateful for the invitation to sort of be here today to share in this. We continue to elevate the importance of varied career pathways and making sure that young kids, particularly in the K through 12 and early childhood space, are equipped with the knowledge, tools, resources, and skills. When I come here, I think about what application in that learning can look like for young folks. The opportunity to have hands-on experience doesn't always exist for everyone. And I think at schools, we really need to figure out how do we reach out to the industries happening, such as farms and people who are maintaining an agricultural culture, and integrate them into the learning and development that happens for young folks. And that's an extremely important thing that we need to continue to advocate for. I think people walk away, and these young kids are going to walk away today with some really meaningful experiences that's going to change the course of how they see themselves kind of interacting in society. And I think to us, that's a really important platform of why it's important to be here to celebrate. To the FFA colleagues who are finishing up their gap year, getting ready for school, to our 4-H community, to other folks who help us elevate, I want to wish you the best on your endeavors, and I look forward to events that highlight your accomplishments in the future as well, and share and bask in those as well. So thank you very much, and I appreciate that the sun came out right after the remarks came out. So anyhow, thank you so much. Let me now pass this over, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce your last name, Claire, but let me hand the mic over to Claire now.
All right, thank you, Secretary Ortega. Hello, everyone. My name is Claire Koick, and I am this year's Pennsylvania 4-H State Council Secretary. And it is an honor to be here with you all today and talk about how I got involved with agriculture. I got involved with agriculture because of my older sister, Rachel. Rachel is 6 years older than me, and when I was younger, I wanted to do everything that Rachel was doing. So when Rachel joined the Cumberland County 4-H Goat Club, I knew that I wanted to join that as well. Rachel was doing all this amazing stuff, caring for goats, learning how to show them, and raising them up to be beautiful creatures. And I wanted to do that. I mean, if Rachel's doing it, then it must be fun. I remember my first year after being a member. I remember being in 4th grade, and Mrs. Dyson, my 4th grade teacher, said to the class that we were going to be having a unit on agriculture. I already knew the basics of agriculture, and I was so excited to learn more about it, but then I realized that some of these kids in my class are learning about agriculture for the first time, and it might be the only time that they learn about agriculture. After that unit, I knew that I wanted to get more involved and learn more about agriculture. So I stayed in the 4-H. As I got older, I started expanding and doing more livestock projects. Throughout the past 11 years, I have been doing market goats, breeding goats, lambs, feeder calves, and even rabbits. With all that adding up, it came to the realization that I loved working with animals, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do as a career. So today, I am currently majoring in animal science with a specialization in livestock management at Delaware Valley University. Now, despite the pandemic, I still had a great first-year college experience, and that was because Delaware Valley still offered hands-on experience at college. Whether that be me working on the farms on campus or learning new things about livestock that I didn't even know about in my Introduction to Animal Science course lab. Either way, I was pursuing my passion. 4-H, I believe, has led me to be at Del Val. And that is because 4-H for me is a family. And throughout these past 11 years, I have been surrounding myself in people that have the same passion for agriculture as I do. And it's the same thing with Del Val. Del Val is a small university, but it feels like home and family for me, where people, the majority of people on campus, are there to pursue their passion in agriculture. Without 4-H, I don't know what my passion would be, and I know that I have a lot to thank for it. I would encourage all youth to get involved in 4-H because it's an experience that you will never regret. Thank you so much for inviting me here today and for me to talk about my agricultural experience. I'm now going to turn it off to Laura Frederici, right? Who is part of the Pennsylvania Department of Education.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Laura Frederici. I'm from the Department of Education. I'm the Career Readiness Advisor. And thank you, Paulus Food Market, Secretaries Redding and Ortega, and the student leaders here from FFA and 4-H and our agricultural education teacher. It's experiences like this today that really do bring on those hands-on, authentic learning experiences. Our communities in Pennsylvania have farm markets everywhere, and many of them, like Paulus, offer these authentic hands-on learning opportunities. So when we think of hands-on learning, it really is a foundation for employability skills like communication, building relationships, as we heard earlier, entrepreneurship, all those critical thinking skills that children learn just by doing the activities that we see back here today. So when you work together, plant a garden, make an activity, it starts to create that foundation. So when I came in here today, I took a moment and I went into the market and I looked in the refrigerator case. And I noticed all the products and I noticed the labels. Well, someone has to make those labels. So it's really kind of a stepping stone also for many entrepreneurs. And one of the most common labels that I saw was the barn. So when we think of a career, we can't forget careers like digital technology, our scientists, our fermentation scientists, our breeders. So the industries, whether you're in a laboratory, whether you are on a farm, in a field, which is a great place to be, there are many fields in agriculture. So our students here from FFA, they do know the value of leadership skills as well as 4-H, and they can tell you how that helps them with employability skills also. So check out FFA's Ag Explore, which is a great website, and will tell you about hundreds and hundreds of careers in career clusters, and they're nodding because they know what I'm talking about. Everyone, enjoy your time here today. Maybe we can take a visit. I don't know if we can enjoy all of the activities. We're a little bit big, but it's fun to watch. So at this time, I'd like to thank you once again and introduce our agricultural teacher, Tiffany, from the School District of Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And it's also great to be here, coming from Philadelphia and also as a teacher, agriculture teacher at WB Saul High School of Agricultural Sciences. I look at the farm and I said, wow, this kind of feels similar to what we have at Saul High School. And with our school year this year being with the pandemic, being virtual, was still able to expose our students to different farms similar to what they have in the city of Philadelphia. So it's a wonderful place to be here. So on behalf of the Pennsylvania's Commission for Agriculture Education Excellence, it is my pleasure to represent the commission at the Paulus Farm. Thank you for welcoming us today, and also being able to experience this wonderful field with understanding and learning about local farming, locally grown foods, as well as the farmers market that we're able to see, and as well as the fun park, which I love to see the kids getting engaged and involved into the different fields of animal science and as well as plant science. But to honor the efforts and goals of our community farmers, such as the Paulus family, the Commission's goal is to assist in developing statewide planning for agriculture education and coordinating the advancements of related agriculture education programming within Pennsylvania, with departments with Department of Agriculture as well as Education. The 15-member commission is charged with annually gathering information from agricultural and education experts from across the Commonwealth and as well as the nation, and making recommendations to enhance the agriculture education within Pennsylvania. The Commission's goals has assisted in recommendations by outlining ag education programs and achievements, assessing the trends and needs in secondary and both formal and informal post-secondary ag education and training, investigating and assessing workforce trends of the agricultural and food industry, assessing programming, recommendations for meetings, and training needs for individuals not pursuing formal post-secondary ag education, making recommendations to Governor and General Assembly regarding legislative and regulatory changes to improve agriculture education, such as teacher certifications, and also providing initiatives to promote a more equitable and inclusive agriculture education system within a state. So one of the best ways for the community to support the Commission's efforts is basically doing what the Paulus Farm is doing, is starting off young, getting students exposed, getting kids exposed to agriculture at an early age, and supporting that interest that students have when they're involved with ag, whether if it's through FFA, 4-H, or even Junior Manners. The Paulus Farm is doing that today. So, and thank you for hosting us in this event today, and the Commission looks forward to hearing more about the progress and the successes of the Paulus Farm and many farms across the Commonwealth. Thank you. I'd like to bring back Secretary Russell Redding to the stage.
Tiffany. Tiffany, thank you very much, and to each of our presenters and speakers this morning, thank you. Thanks for being here, but also enduring the heat. I kept trying to move towards the shade, but we'll get there. But a note of thanks again to all who are here, and want to say thank you particularly to our members of the Ag Commission. You heard from Tiffany Turrentine, but also Gary Swan is here, one of our commission members, and his beautiful family. Thank you, Gary, for your service to the commission. You know, it's important in the genesis of that commission, as Tiffany had shared, it was the collective concern about the future of both the workforce and agriculture, and how do we as a state help manage ag education in the state, and the commission was a product of that. And it's important because it is not solely about what agriculture does, it's the partnership with the education department. So Secretary Ortega and I co-chair that, which I think is important, obviously, in the work of the commission, but it's also a statement about the ownership that we as a Department of Ag have a lot of responsibilities relative to food and agriculture, but it's also about the formal education work in our system, educational system across the state. So I appreciate the work of the commission, the guidance that they provide, and the efforts that they put forth to date to make sure that our education, ag education in Pennsylvania is strong and it grows. We've heard from each of the speakers about the importance of agriculture. Many, in particular our 4-H and FFA members, have found their way into agriculture and are exploring that professionally in different ways by different experiences. In some cases it was a parent, in another it was a sibling, right? And so I think that's part of this story, is the experiences that we have are formed by life experiences at home and work and those who we associate with. It is no different than the discussion we're having today about agricultural awareness in the workforce. It is those experiences, but it's all with an eye to the future, recognizing that we have to plant the seed for a career. It is not going to grow, just as the Pauluses can tell you, if there's no seed under that plastic or in that ground, there's no crop, right? That is where we are in talking about the workforce and education, is to make sure we plant the seed that grows and produces. But that takes nurturing, that takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of science, it takes a lot of effort. But at the end of the day, critically important to both our immediate future and the sustainability of our planet, but also where we see both the path of Pennsylvania and also the path of our nation, is to make sure that we are secure in our food, that we're managing those resources, that we are applying every ounce of science to the problem solving to make sure that we can continue to grow and enjoy what we have here in this state and nation in terms of our community and our food system. Also want to say thank you to Sarah Glagora, who is here, who manages our workforce and directs those workforce efforts. And I think that's a part of this conversation, that she can tell you the apprenticeships and the pre-apprenticeships and the formalization of making sure that we're very intentional about getting to this point of defining what agriculture needs in terms of skills and competencies and jobs and those careers, and then the pathway to get there. We cannot leave that to chance. You can't leave it to chance. It's the intentionality, and that's the work that the commission is doing and she is doing, and collectively you've heard today. So with that, thank you all for being here. We'll entertain any questions at this point. If not, I'll end where I began, with a simple thank you to Jim and Amy. I realize why you are so successful. You're in the shade. Thank you for hosting. Beautiful day. Always appreciate your hospitality. Thank you. families sort of visit and take a look and the wonderment that's here. What is behind those buildings? What's under that plastic? What are those bees doing in the flower garden? How does that strawberry get, when you come through the doors, there's this hidden sort of treasure behind the fence. And I think it's a great analogy for sort of agriculture, right? On the surface it looks like one thing, awareness, what we're talking about today. Agriculture in Pennsylvania, deep roots, right? It is part of our history. It's been an important part of our workforce. And how do we, prepare that workforce for the careers in agriculture? We'll hear about those today. We understand that agriculture is at the intersection of some of the most important issues of our
Participate in meaningful ways in agriculture. I think these learning experiences really plant the seeds for what's important for them, right? To pursue careers, as Emma described in her pathway, and I just had the opportunity, kind of a gateway that just opened up this life of things going on around us, and this is really impressive, and this is a really good way for young kids to really get introduced to the opportunities that exist in this area and have a true appreciation